Hey guys, Rodney Walker here, Grant Center USA, Grant Writers Association. I want to answer one important question that I get quite a bit, and that is the question, is grant writing for me? And there really is only one person that can answer that question, and that's you. But what I can do is I can share some information with you, give you some insight about what the field is like and some of the things that are required. And hopefully that can help you as you make a decision about whether or not it's for you or not. So with that said, let's back up for a second and let's just take a moment to talk about what's required as it relates to doing this, because this may be a fit for you if you meet certain criteria. And I want to kind of tell you about what some of those criteria are. First of all, when you start talking about being a grant writer has to have understanding how grants work. And so you're gonna have to take some time to think about that, to see, do you want to really invest into learning what it takes to be a grant writer, which means you have to understand how grants in general work, both government grants as well as private grants. And then there's some other types of grants that are kind of given out that are more specific to like corporations that are giving out funding and others that are giving out funding in different areas. So the big thing is just figuring out first, do you want to know about grants, and are you open to learning about that? And if you are, then this may possibly be a good fit for you. Now, what else is involved? In addition to learning about grants, and in addition to knowing how they operate, you've also got to ask yourself a couple other questions. You got to ask yourself questions such as, do you like to write? I had one lady that I was talking to recently, and she was considering going through one of our programs, and this person had applied and mentioned that they didn't like writing. And I'm like, how are you going to do grant writing if you don't like to write? Okay, so here is a prerequisite. If you're going to do grant writing, there's going to be some writing involved. And so that's going to be an area that I'm going to really suggest that you like to do. Because if you don't like to do it, then you may be wasting your time with trying to get into this field, because a grant writer writes. So ask yourself, do you like to write? And not only, let me cross the street real quickly over here. Not only do you like to write, but are you a good writer? And you don't have to be a great writer, meaning that you don't have to write these Shakespeare plays and things of that nature, but are you decent at being able to convey your thoughts? Because if you're not, then this is not a good field for you. But if you have a good sense with being able to write words and really put words down on paper and convey those meaning and those thoughts in an intelligent way, then grant writing may be good for you. Now, let me tell you something else. In addition to being able to write good, you also have to be able to do extensive research. And the better you are at research, the better you can be in doing this work in grant development and grant writing, because it involves research. You have to do research for a number of things. You have to do research for the project. You have to do research for the actual grant proposal. You have to do research on funders, those that are giving out the money. So there's a lot of research involved. And so if you don't like research, then this may not be the field for you. But if you're savvy at finding information and gathering information, then this could possibly be a really good fit for you, because it involves research, it involves writing, and then there's another element that's oftentimes overlooked. And I want to share with you, because it's huge if you're going to do this really effectively, and if you're going to do this well. And that is that you have to be able to form relationships. You have to be able to have good relationships with funders, people that are giving the monies out. And you got to be able to form relationships. And so I guess what I'm saying, if you're wondering if this is a good fit for you, you have to be able to research, you have to be able to write. And I'm saying you have to be a good writer. You have to be a great writer, a good writer, and you can improve your skills. If your skills in writing is not necessarily where you want it to be, you can improve in that area. But But no kidding aside, you need to be able to convey your thoughts, and then you need to be able to form and forge relationships with potential funders that will be likely to give money out to you. So that's the first groundwork that I would say. Got to learn about grants. You got to be willing to invest into knowing that, and those other three big parts would play a very important role. That's what I would say for now in terms of if grants are for you. Again, nobody can really determine that but you. But I've given you some pieces of the puzzle, so then you can start seeing if this may or not be a good fit for you. I'm going to give you some more information of kind of like what it's like to be a grant writer in addition to what I've just shared. So stay tuned for the next video that I'm going to provide for you. And what I'm going to answer is what else does it really take to be a grant writer? So keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't, I have a video training where I've kind of shared my story of how I broke into grant writing, and not only how I broke into grant writing, but I've shared kind of like the road of my journey, and it's kind of like the road of getting funded. So you may want to check that out as well, because that gives kind of even in-depth additional information about what I did and how I went on my journey, and maybe it can provide a little clarity for you about whether or not this is right for you. So remember, in all your doings, I want you to be brave, I want you to be bold, and I want you to be brilliant. Take charge.